We had a lot of expectation for Ventel going into the offseason. He answered all of our questions as far as toughness, uh, developing his body in the weight room. He had never lifted weights until he got here. Carried over into spring ball. He's caught the ball extremely well, knows his assignments, has made plays when the ball's come to him a high percentage of the time, and has become a guy that we can count on. Understanding he's still a freshman, has never played a game. When he lines up against Penn State next year, it's going to be fast for him, and it's going to take him some time to adjust to the game speed of a real game. But we have a lot of expectation that he can be very productive for us this year, and very excited to have him, as a weapon for PJ, a big kid like that can move and show himself and hopefully help PJ get some completions that we couldn't get last year.
What have you seen that you've liked from PJ this spring?
I think getting me moving away from him and just being a coordinator, because I'm a little bit temperamental. Getting Glenn Thomas here, who's got a very good demeanor about him, and where he's just got a quarterback coach all the time, is constantly just coaching quarterbacks, is not having to worry about going to script a period or yelling at an alignment or yelling at someone, just a guy that's there for him. I think it's kind of seeped over into PJ's personality. He looks a lot calmer out there. I think, he's a year older, so the maturation just naturally happens. I think he's got a lot more confidence because he knows more football. But I think, I think Glenn's done a phenomenal job of just trying to get his confidence back to where it needs to be, and giving him confidence, giving him things that, that he knows that he can get completions, and things that he needs to work on from a mental standpoint that he's improved on. So I think just his overall demeanor has been, awesome.
You said in the past with the spring game, it's really hard to evaluate. Obviously, quarterbacks aren't live. Sometimes you've been working with a guy all spring and then he's not on your team. So what are the things you look for in that?
Well, we're going to go offense versus defense. Hopefully I didn't say that. Okay. But, so last year was tough because we were split up, and it was just kind of a smorgasbord of humans. This year should have, the full complement of guys that they've been practicing with this spring. Got some guys banged up, but for the most part, the continuity of the first team, that they're going to get. PJ's going to get to throw to the receivers he's been throwing to all spring, and the O-line is going to be blocking with the same guys they've been blocking with all spring, and vice versa. So I think we're looking going into the spring game just to be able to move the sticks, create some third down conversions, which we've been pretty good at so far this spring, improving on the debacle last year of our third down efficiency. I think that the spring game should be a lot cleaner, and the expectation's a lot higher this year than it was last year, because it's not an exhibition game where the teams have just been drafted, with no philosophical view whatsoever. We've got our guys that are playing with each other, so where the expectations of our staff is a lot higher than it was last year.
How do you evaluate the wide receivers?
They've gotten better. They're at the end of the practices now. They just finished 13, so there's a couple of them that got beat up. But when they're all out there and rolling, they've gotten a lot better. I get like PJ, kind of compare the two, a lot more confident. I think they understand the game a little bit better a year later. They're making plays that they weren't making last year. Putting them in, trying to create one-on-one situations and man coverage on third down, and letting them be fit, because we got big kids. Letting them use their physical nature to win one-on-one matchups, and they've shown that they can do that, and they keep getting more confidence, each practice. So we're very pleased with them. We've got to get them all back out there and get them all healthy, but they're headed definitely in the right direction.
I know it's a little early, but do you see anyone as the front runner to take over Jay's spot for when the season starts?
JC will be the slot guy. That's he practices on the weekends because of class conflicts. He's a guy that's got the consistency there. Keith Kirkwood, Ventel. I don't know really which one's going to. I don't know if JC's going to go out there and win the Heisman Trophy. He's going to go out there and he's going to catch a bunch of balls and be very productive. I don't know the dynamic playmaker that Jalen was. I don't know who that is yet. I think we've got 2 or 3 candidates, and then we got some kids coming in who could also be in that role. So we'll have someone there. I don't really know who it is yet, though.
How good has it been to have Brian Carter just solidified now on the offensive line?
It's been great. He's a physical talent. I remember the first time I saw him in high school, going into school, I looked at him and thought, man, you're a guard or a center. And to get him there full time and have the whole off season where he's learning how to punch and use his feet, and the demeanor is totally different as an offensive lineman. The mentality is totally different. He's bought into the group. The group's bought into him. And I think that, he's got a very high ceiling. He's nowhere where he's going to end up, but he's definitely put himself in a position to be a good player for us this year and help us hopefully, improve offensively and running the football and give us that physical nature up front and athletic because he can move really well.
Running back seems to be a situation where there's a lot of guys vying for playing time. How have you seen that?
Yeah, and I don't want it to be like that. I'm sick of the whole 2 or 3 guys getting carries. So they know it. I don't want them to be cutthroat, and they're not, but they need to start to separate themselves. We're going to put 1 or 2 guys out there that can carry the ball, let them get in a rhythm and be productive. And if they're not in the top 2, then they can win on special teams for us and do other things. But we're not going to do that whole committee thing anymore. So the best 2 will be out there, and then we'll have 1 more that knows can go in and give them some relief if needed if somebody gets banged up. But we're not doing that 3 and 4 running backs thing anymore.
Has anybody separated themselves in the spring?
Jihad Thomas has started to separate himself a little bit. David Hood has started to separate himself a little bit. Jamie Gilmore's he's had 2 weeks now where he's not been able to practice because of injury. So he's kind of hanging right there. Just can't do anything. The guy I'm really fired up about is Zaire. I think Zaire, we can utilize him in a lot of different roles. He's been going out and playing some, fullback type roles. Not a fullback. We don't ever ask him to ISO or run power. Just some finesse fullback activity in the run game that he can do. He can go out and split out as a receiver and catch the ball. He can jump back in the backfield and carry the ball. So he's really accepted the role as being a utility guy, kind of like Kenny was at times last year. And I think that allows Zaire to get 4 or 5 more touches a game if he continues to embrace this role, which he has.
Okay.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.